Good morning, everyone. It's November 6th, 2020. In today's video, I'm going to discuss with you who and what gets locked down. And there's some other things. So, there's 2 or 3 types of species that get locked down. The first being those who are captive of their governments via prison or county jail or quarantine camps or FEMA camps, and livestock, right? Livestock. And if you are in a nation that has decided to lock you down, or state in our case, it should be painfully obvious to you the extent of how free you are, which is not at all. You're not at all free. So you're either livestock or you're a prisoner. At the end of the day, when the sun begins to fall, my chickens, most of them anyway, automatically go back to where they roost, and I don't really have to do anything. They just do it on their own. And when they go in there, I shut the doors and make sure they're secure. And the reason I do that is very simple. We have a lot of predators in our area. We have foxes, we have bears, we have I've seen quite a large wildcat, probably the size, I don't know, of my bigger dog. Pretty close to that size. I don't know what species of cat it is, but I seen it with my own 2 eyes, and it was a pretty big fucking cat. And so we have all these different predators around here, and I close the doors on my chickens at the end of the day so that they do not become prey to one of those predators. We have lost 2 chickens now to either theft or predation. The same cannot be said for for people, though. When people are locked down, they're prisoners. You are a prisoner if you are locked down. And what stuns me the most about all of this isn't the goal it took for the government to declare they have that right to lock everyone down, but the same mentality my chickens have at the end of the day. They just do what they're supposed to do. They automatically go back to their roosting spot, and the same happened with many people across our nation, across Europe, among other places. Now, in places like North Korea, it's pretty obvious, right, that and China, that you're not free. You are property of the state, and you have no rights. But in a so-called democracy, people believe that they're free. But the reality of the matter is, you're not free. You are subjugated by the government just as much as you are in North Korea, China, Iran, and all these other places that our government likes to point at when they talk about freedom, but they never mention how unfree we are. So we're pretty much all subjects to a government, one way or the other. I got an email from my daughter's and son's school, and in the bottom of the email, it gave the title of an office. It says, the Office of Compliance and something or other. The part that really caught my eye was the compliance. It is their job to make sure that we comply with the whims of the curriculum, those who created it, and so on, right? The government. When you have such offices, it should be obvious to the person reading that email that, you know, maybe we're not so free after all. But the public school system has done a marvelous job at seeing to it that people lack a critical skill, and that skill is comprehension. Being able to comprehend what is going on around you, being able to comprehend what one is reading, being able to comprehend what's being done to you. So, at the beginning of this year, you recall, I started covering this whole Wu flu thing. And admittedly, at the beginning, I was a little bit concerned. Didn't know any of the facts, didn't know anything except for the reaction of the Chinese government. And I said then that, you know, we can expect something similar here. Maybe not exactly the same. They didn't go around welding door shut to apartment buildings and whatnot, but they demanded in many places here in the United States that people lock themselves down in their own homes. They didn't have to be forced to do it, just like my chickens. So that tells me that basically the people of the United States and other European-based nations are trained exactly the way my livestock is trained. And so that should tell you exactly the metric of our freedom. That should tell you that there is not really any freedom. And what they being the corporation of the United States government, what their main function actually is to prop up and keep standing long-established industries, such as the pharmaceutical industry, such as the banking industry, such as the auto industry, and so on and so forth. And your freedom is as deep as your ability to buy these goods, which is a pretty shallow version of freedom. It's a very, very shallow freedom. Almost means nothing. You're as free as the goods you can buy, and that's it. You have choices, but notice that these choices are material things. You know, like Pepsi, Coke, Dr. Pepper, Taco Bell, or McDonald's, or Louis Vuitton or Gucci or Chevy or Ford, and so on, right? Those are the choices that you get to make. You don't get to make the choice of what to put in your body. You have regulatory agencies to see to it, or should I say, to regulate what one is able to put in their body. Do you know that there are hundreds of different types of cheeses that we do not have access to because the milk that these cheeses are made with is raw milk, unpasteurized? Somebody made that choice for you. Somebody decided that you were not adult enough or free enough to choose whether or not to consume that cheese. And so they've put into place all these different industries, like the medical industry. In order to get a decent painkiller, you have to go and see a doctor who then makes that decision for you whether or not you're in enough pain to warrant having those painkillers. At every turn, people, you are subjugated. And these lockdowns should have sounded alarm bells in the minds of those people who actually thought they live in a free nation. But instead, what happened is these people started fighting over political ideologies. If you disagreed with the lockdowns, you're a fucking right-wing extremist. If you were frightened by the idea of getting sick and dying from V201, you were a leftist. And ever since, we've been at each other's throats with regard to how we should be handling ourselves and how the government should be handling a made-up, fictitious disease. It's all been about controlling you, getting you at each other's throats. Much like these elections. So we have these different cities, states, now refusing to count ballots until whenever they feel like doing it. They're refusing to allow people from the right or the left, depending on where you live, in to observe the counting of the ballots to make sure, that everyone's playing fair and doing what they're supposed to do. That in itself should tell you exactly how much choice in a candidate you actually have. Besides the fact that you only get the choice between two motherfucking people, both of these individuals are questionable morally. You know, Donald Trump on The View talked about his sexual attraction to his own daughter, and Joe Biden is Mr. Touchy-Feely on every child that he runs across. So you got the choice between one possible pedophile and another definite pedophile. And let's not forget, and I'm not really sure about Joe Biden. I don't know if he's ever been to Epstein's Island there. I don't know if he's ever been on the Lolita Express or... but I do know Donald Trump was an associate of Jeffrey Epstein, but somehow we're supposed to vote for one of two of these perverts. So I got this shirt, as I mentioned yesterday, and let me tell you, I got some pretty dirty looks when I went out in public with it on, but nobody had the balls to utter a fucking word to me. And I'm already prepared with what I'm going to say to these people. And it's not going to be, it's going to be a pretty rude awakening for these individuals when whoever it is has the nerve to confront me about my shirt. That was the whole purpose behind getting the shirt in the first place. It's basically a trap. And I'm pretty sure when they confront me, they will be instantly either awakened fully, or they will double down on their ideology and attack me. But make no mistake about it. You are not free. You are a piece of livestock. You are a prisoner of your government, no matter where you live. You know, if you take this vaccine, do you understand what it's going to do to you? It's going to completely alter your DNA so that it either enables you to live longer or it kills you. And the Bible, book of Revelation specifically, talks about how men will wish for death, but death will not come. And it's that mark that does that to you. Now, I don't know about you, but I do not want to live hundreds of years or 100 years. I just don't. I just don't. At least not the way we live now. If we lived in a free, peaceful world, or a reasonably peaceful anyway, it would be different. But we all live in a world where we are prisoners to our governments. We're nothing more than cattle to be counted. We're nothing more than prisoners in one big, giant, open-air prison planet. And until a large mass of people recognize this fact for what it is, not an opinion, we will all continue to be that livestock. We will all continue to be that cattle. So, a fight over which pedophile you want to be your slave master. Fight over which congressman you want to enforce or create laws for that slave master to sign. Fight for the local asshole politicians that follow and enforce the whims of the higher up slave masters. Fight for the wives of the assholes driving around in squad cars in funny little uniforms, but not yourself, but not your freedom. Beg for your imprisonment, because that's what everyone, most everyone, has been doing. Anyway, I hope every one of you have a great, great afternoon. And until next time, kill the state, live free.